everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm coming to you with another Stampin' 101. But before I get started, I just wanted to make sure that you knew there is a new catalog. If you haven't heard, I don't know, maybe you've been under a rock or out of the country or something. But anyway, this is the new catalog. It's June 1st is when it starts. And it's got so many really cool things in here. There's a lot of stuff carrying over wherever you go. Timeless textures. Those are a couple of my favorites. It's got this beautiful new confirmation, first communion set. I can't wait to get my hands on that one. It has, where's another one? That's one of my favorites. This set. Oh my goodness. This is one of my favorites. I love this designer series paper. It's so cute. They had one a couple years back. I can't remember what it was, like a schoolhouse theme, and this reminds me so much of it. But these little stamps here, they all have coordinating dies, so you can cut stuff out. Very fun. And then there's this new little text messaging set. Still some old favorites. We do have Seaside Shore, but we have this new set message in a bottle, which I cannot wait to use. Look at that cute little octopus and the whale. Love it. And what else is fun here? A lot of little cute things. Coffee set. That's a great one as well. Sorry, don't mind my phone ringing. That always happens. But anyway, if you guys don't have a copy of this, be sure to shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com with your first, last name, and your full mailing address. And I'll get you one out as soon as possible. Otherwise, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about different types of stamp sets. So I know sometimes people are a little bit confused when you say clear or photopolymer or clear mount. So I'm going to explain them to you. So basically, here's the three. There are three different kinds. There is wood mount, there is clear mount, and there is photopolymer. So the clear is the confusing one, so we're going to save that for the middle. But we have wood mount stamps, and some of the stamp sets come in wood or clear or photopolymer. Some of them only come in wood or clear, and some only come in photopolymer. But basically, this is a very old set, but a great one if you don't have it. I believe it's called Thoughts and Prayers, but it's got a great little tree here. Also this really pretty branch with flowers on it. It has a lot of really beautiful words and sayings, and this is a wood mount set. So what happens is this comes with these little rubber pieces and the wood blocks, and then these little stickers. So what you have to do is you have to take the stickers off, you stick it to the wood block, and then you can put your little picture on the side so you know what's what. And then the same thing with the words. So this is kind of like a double-sided one. I'm not even sure if it comes this way any longer because I've had this one for a really long time. It may come in individual blocks now, but basically you have these little wood pieces, you put the stamps on there, and then you put it down. Another way that they sell these, this is another set that I've had for quite some time, but it's still current, which is Teeny Tiny Wishes. Now this is more typical. So you'll have one little stamp, rubber stamp you'll put on, and then you'll put your sticker on the other side. This, if you don't have it, is also a really, really wonderful and very versatile stamp set to have for greetings because it has so many different ones. If you can see, Valentine's, Christmas, anniversary, retirement, Thanksgiving, Mother's Day, graduation. There are so many really cool stamps in here, plus they all have totally different fonts. So again, if you don't have this one, this would be a great starter one for you to get because it's got so much different stuff in it. So again, those are wood. And now we're going to move on to clear mount. So clear doesn't mean that it's physically clear, which could be the part that's a little confusing. It means that you're going to use clear blocks. So let me pick these up and bring them over. And these are the clear blocks that you're going to use. So they have a bunch of different sizes. These are only a few, but this is A, B, C, D, E, and then this one back here is H. So they have a whole bunch of different ones. They have one that's a full-size one. But essentially what you're going to do with these, why they call them clear, is because they're clear mount, which it means it mounts onto a clear block. And you just take your stamp and you stick it on there and stamp away with your ink. Another thing that you can do with these, which is awesome, and I do this quite often, two things actually. So you could take, so if you use this size, this is D, I think. Yeah, D. So you could take your re-inker and put like a couple drops of it on here, and you could use it as a little tray for your watercolors, or you could take like Emerald Envy re-inker and Watermelon Wonder re-inker, and you kind of just spread it around. You can add a little water, and then you can stamp with it, and it'll give you a really awesome watercolor image. Blah, blah, blah. Or another thing you can do, which I've done this myself before, is you actually open up your stamp like this, and then you can dip your end in it And then you can make these cool little lines. I mean, you can do it both directions, but this is a really cool way just to do some different patterns, and that would be great. I don't know if you can see that down there. It's just different patterns that you can create with this really, it's just versatile. It's another way to do this fun stuff with. So essentially, let me just see if I can get that off of there so I don't make a mess of myself, which is likely to happen. So anyway, the clear blocks, you can use them for more than one thing instead of just stamping. And then one other thing I'll tell you while I'm on this topic, they are very easy to clean. All you're going to do with this one is just rinse it under water, and then you could just wipe it off. If you're being extra lazy like myself, I am sometimes, you can just use a baby wipe to clean it off. And then just use a little cloth. Most everybody has these just to polish, and it'll make them a little bit stickier. If you get any goopies on, you can just clean it off with a little soap and water and just rinse it. However, my point, I, in the beginning, did not get the Stampin' Up! Blocks because I was like, I'm not going to spend money on Stampin' Up! Blocks. I'll just get blocks from Michael's or Joann's. Luckily, I only bought 2 because I didn't like them. They don't stick as well, and I don't find that the grip is as nice when you're using them. So maybe that's me being a little bit of a Stampin' Up! Snob. I don't know, but I would highly recommend. You can buy these in a bundle, and you'll get like 6 different sizes, and as a matter of fact, it could very well be this grouping here because they do still have a really, really long one, which is just in my box, and then the really, really big one that fits the full-size stamp. So you can get a starter kit, and that way you have them. And I tend to buy clear stamps because they are much thinner to store, and they're so you can like get more of these and be able to stack them all together. And then maybe your husband or your spouse won't realize how many stamps you have. But anyway, I like the clear mounts just because they take up less space as well. And then plus you always have your little blocks that you can take with you or you could use for something else. And one other note while I have you here. So this is how the stamp sets come when they're in the clear mount. And they come this way in the wood mount as well, except they'll have the blocks unmounted. But basically what you're going to do with these is you have your stamp. You're just going to pop it out. Okay, you're going to pull off the little backing. And then you'll just put this, I just kind of push it on, give a little contact, and then it'll stick. And typically I don't use the stickers on mine because I find it doesn't stick quite as well. However, if you want to use the stickers, you certainly can, and I'm going to show you how to put them on. They're very easy. The only thing you have to do is you have to make sure that you just kind of give it a little bit more time when you press it down. So if you want to perfectly adhere your sticker to your stamp, what you're going to do is you're going to leave it on your paper here, and you're going to peel off the backing from the sticker. So it'll put your clear sticker just like that. And then what you want to do is you just kind of want to line your stamp setup as exact as you can and just press down, and you'll lift and you'll see that it's lined up just perfectly to your stamp set. And if you get a little bit over, you can always trim it off. It's no big deal. But when you use these now, the only thing you want to do is when you push on them, to give them a good 5-second push before you pick it up, just to make sure that you have good contact, and then you can stamp. See, the reason that I didn't like them before is because I'd pick it up and then be stamping and it keeps falling off. So if you do decide to put your stickers on, you just want to make sure you put it on there and you really press. That way you can get a good seal. Other thing you could do if you like, take a little bit of Tombow liquid glue, put a teeny bit on there, let it dry so it's tacky, and then it's kind of like a restickable sticker. So there's another option for you as well. Okay, let me get this out of the way. And then that's going to bring us to our final stamp set, which again also uses the photopolymer, the clear blocks, and that is photopolymer. And these are actually physically a clear stamp. So this would make more sense that it's clear versus clear mount. So that might be a little bit confusing to people. So again, that's the difference. So these are clear, but these don't have as much padding like, for example, your clear mount stamp has. So see how they still have that sponge there? So for these, you're going to need to have a sponge. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to get your images to transfer. So for example, if you're going to stamp with this, let me move this out of the way. And we'll just grab some Emerald Envy because it's closest. So you have your stamp mounted on your block, and same thing. These are super sticky, so they're very easy to get stuck. So you ink your stamp up and you stamp it. Well, look at that, because it's not filled in very well. So when you use photopolymer, there are 2 main keys to using photopolymer stamps to getting them to stamp nicely. Number 1, you want to make sure that you get really good coverage when you stamp. So make sure you press, turn it around a little bit, stamp again. And then when you actually stamp, first of all, this is a huge stack of paper. So this is kind of acting as a nice cushion, or you could use the Stampin' Pierce mat, which I don't, of course, have handy at the second right now. But so a stack of paper underneath, the Stampin' Pierce mat really works super nicely. And the other thing is you want to press. So when you put this down, you got to push. You got to give it like 5 to 7 seconds for the ink to transfer from the stamp to your paper. So I wasn't pressing very evenly, and this table is a little bit lumpy, which is why I still tend to use my Stampin' Pierce mat. But look how much more filled in that is. And this one also has kind of got a little bit of a, like the way the background is, it's not solid as opposed to like this stamp is a little bit more of a solid. It's got a little texture to it. That's what I want to say. So it may be the way this is kind of supposed to be slightly see-through, but it's not supposed to look like that. Now, again, to digress one time farther, say you got your whole thing all stamped up, your card, and you're like, oh my gosh, I stamped this and it didn't even turn out well. Well, don't fear. So take out your marker, which I highly suggest you buy your coordinating markers. And then what you do is you could just take your marker, and this isn't going to look so wonderful because it's on just kind of scrap paper, but you can just fill in the spot that you missed. So same thing right here. We'll do it on this one. It'll look a little nicer. And give it a second to dry. Now, if this was on cardstock, it would definitely be a much nicer fill-in. But don't throw something away. You can always fix it. If you, for some reason, don't have the marker, grab your blender pen, and you can do the same thing, except you'll just pick up the ink off of your stamp pad, for example, and you'll just fill in your ink, just like that. And you can always go over your blender pen. Will actually help to separate your colors a little more so you don't have these big swaths of color, but it helps to blend everything. The other thing you could do if you don't have, or you don't want to go through the trouble of it, is you could just take your blender pen and just blend your image so it kind of bleeds some of the ink off of the darker parts onto the lighter parts. Gives you a nicer image there. So that's another thing that you can do. You could also do this with your watercolor pencil, but you just want to make sure, because if you get it super wet, it's not going to really look very nice. It's going to kind of bleed a little bit. So again, Photopolymer is actually a physically clear stamp. And then make sure when you're done with your blender pen that you just wipe it off, kind of on a towel, baby wipe, rinse it under water, either one. But you want to make sure with your Photopolymer that you stamp and you press and you give it like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before you lift your image. And you can see even on that repeat scan, so we didn't even re-ink that, and that still is a completely filled in image. So I hope that's helped you guys a little bit with just differentiating the different types of stamps. So your Photopolymer, which uses a clear block, your clear mount stamp, which uses a clear block, or your wood mount stamp, which uses a wooden block and the rubber stamp that actually also still has the sponge on it. So those are the 3 different types that Stampin' Up! Carries. If you guys have any questions or you have any suggestions on something maybe that you would like to learn or know about, or some information that you want, please feel free to shoot me an email. Leave me a comment here on YouTube. You can shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. I do tend to put these onto my blog afterwards, so you can always catch me there at Rach the Stamper and leave a comment as well. And if you would like to get either the new catalog, you can shoot me an email at rachthestamper.com. Just make sure I have first, last name, and your entire mailing address. Sometimes people tend to leave off their zip codes. Or you can get all of these cool things in my online store. June 1st, everything is available. There is a whole, oh, I can't even tell you how many really cool things there are in this stamp set. As a matter of fact, this little wood words, I'm just going to show you. This comes as a bundle. It's a wood crate. So you can make this little tiny crate, and it's got all these cutouts, and these match. So it matches the rooster, matches the heart, the moon, the star, and then there is a little tag, and these will fit in there just like that. And then you can use your 1-inch circle punch here, and this is just a background stamp. So if you haven't already, make sure you take a peek at that. There are a lot of really, really cool new things in there. I'm going to be trying to post a whole bunch of new ideas. So I hope you guys will stay tuned. If you haven't already, please subscribe to me here on YouTube at Rach the Stamper. And you can always follow along with me on my blog, Instagram, and Facebook at Rach the Stamper as well. So thanks for watching. Take care.